Welcome to Commander Pop Culture, a place to gather magical information, with some laughs, might I add. Hello everyone, sorry it's been a while. I took a trip back to my home state, Minnesota, and spent some time with some old friends. Had a blast. Anyways, I also shaved. My face feeling brutally dry. Just needed a nice little reset from everything. Hope you don't mind seeing my true face. I never showed you the process of how I build my decks. I think Eriette was my number one pick of 45%. The deck after that, I'll build Bernard the Ginger Sculptor and so on and so forth. I don't know if anyone's seen Good Will Hunting, but I couldn't help myself but to name this, Do You Like Apples?
Yeah.
Well, I got a number. How do you like them apples?
Eriette's all about casting auras and getting some kind of payoff for playing auras. The cool part about her is you can neuter the offensive parts of people's creatures by making them so they can't attack you or your planeswalkers when she is in play. You have to be kind of careful with that and what you enchant, because you could go the route of enchanting them with very scary auras so they kill your opponents faster. But that's a very double-edged sword, because the moment Eriette is off the table, they could turn that very lethal weapon you gave them towards you. I'm going to probably go the more safer route. Going to be going all in on trying to take advantage of her bottom ability, where I drain everyone on my end step. I took the liberty of plugging in the lands and the mana rocks because I feel like those are the least impactful of a deck. My one condition for lands is that they're untapped. Constraint upsetting. Everything's around $5. I want this deck to be affordable to anyone who has an interest in playing it. I'll probably do an upgraded version of this sometime in the month. Include Cheezer's Death Storehouse. If I throw on, like, say, all that glitters onto my commander, she becomes a lethal attacker. And it taps for a black source, and it's untapped. It's everything you want in a land. I'll have Heliod's Generosity lets you get back your auras after a player dies. Their creatures go away, so do your enchantments, they go to your graveyard. You need some consistent way of getting your enchantments back so you don't lose your power as the game goes on when players die. Arcane Lighthouse will also be pretty integral in this deck because you're all about enchanting your opponent's creatures. If you want to take full advantage of that top ability, if they have Hexproof or Shroud, you obviously won't be able to neuter their creatures. As for the artifacts, they all produce mana. They're just rocks. But the cool stuff to make up the ramp package with my coupons, I got Transcendent Envoy, I got Starfield Mystic, Killian Ink Duelist, and Hero of Iroas. The rest of the deck that I'm going to build it right in front of you. Show you every step of my process. Start with EDH rec typically. Let's do the card advantage package first, since I've already covered the mana rocks and the lands. We'll get to the, I guess,
The best for last.
Mesa Enchantress is great. SRAM, Senior Edificer, and Core Spirit Dancer, they all cantrip off your auras, which is why these make, 80% plus in synergy and is also card advantage. Nicely, these three enchantresses are all really cheap. They're less than $1 each. Let's look what else they got. I love Hateful Eidolon. This is a good card. Whenever an enchanted creature dies, draw a card for each aura attached to it. And it typically draws me a lot of cards. So that's 4 of the 12 card advantage pieces that I'm looking for. I guess Songbirds is considered card advantage. It does something the turn you play it. Sounds perfect for me. Albeit it's only 1 card a turn. It's still a good value engine. And it gives you specifically what you want. Savine's Reclamation's probably good. I like to run really cheap spells. And Savine's Reclamation lets me return 3 things to the play. Bull's Citadel is a good top-end engine. You gain a fair amount of life, so you'll probably be able to take a lot of good advantage of it. As players die, we want to get our stuff back. It's a nice budget option. Retether. We're going to have a nice recovery plan. 10 card advantage spells. Ooh, Well of Lost Dreams. I should be gaining large swaths of life, so we're going to throw that in here. Can never have too much card advantage, that's for sure. EDH Rec has, ran out of recommendations, so we're gonna go to Handy Dandy Card Kingdom. I love their search engine tool. I think it's really simple, intuitive, and gives me exactly what I want. So I already set the colors, and I'm choosing the card type, my price range. I choose $10 or less because Card Kingdom tends to inflate their card prices. They usually fall $3 to $4 cheaper than even this on TCG Player. We're going to try Destroy first. Converted cost. I like things to be to maximum. And I'll check the first 100 recommendations because it's based on popularity in terms of what I picked up here. Now we can work on the fun stuff. If I want to put in board wipes, I think now is a good time to do it. I did see one that I really liked earlier. Winds of Wrath destroys all non-enchanted creatures. I get to keep bleeding people dry.
We can bleed this planet dry!
How's my curve looking? Still really low. I have 22 drops, so my average CMC is 1.3, just how I like it. I'm well be under 2, so I can afford to put 5 drops, and single-sided board wipes even better. Just so I can reach the bare minimum of board wipes, I might just throw in Dam, just because it has flex of both single target and board wipe potential. And then call it good. Now for the fun stuff. Let's get a good look at, start from the top here. Talked about Ghoulish Impetus already. We're going to throw that in here. I'm going to try and jam as many enchantments that return themselves. Let's use the search engine for that. We'll type return. We'll change the enchantment, and then we'll add a custom type and select aura. I don't care about CMC now. And we'll just apply those filters. Gift of Immortality is great because I get to protect my commander and return it over and over again. This is like the best part of building decks right here. I like the Animate Dead kind of packaging because, again, I can use that to return my commander if it's sitting in my hand, and I get to keep my aura count high and just drive my opponents insane. My ramp package is not the best. It usually increases things by, I net 1 mana off of my rocks typically, with the exception of Soul Ring. And maybe if I have Killian play, increasing my mana production super slowly. So maybe this is worth doing. And I could enchant other people's creatures from their graveyards. Yeah, let's do it. Let's have more backup plans. Yeah, I'll play Angelic Destiny. I like Evasion, and that's a scary stat block increase. I like Griffspoon. We'll throw that in here. Makes my commander evasive, and I could bring it back. The nice thing about some of these enchantment auras is that they have some flex. In that if I really need something not hit me, like if I'm playing against a Voltron commander, I'll just throw this on their creature and not be completely defenseless. Skyblade Boon. For doing a Voltron aura strategy, I will have a very safe strategy in terms of not losing too terribly much. I'm losing tempo, but not the cards themselves. Screams from Within. Let's throw that in here. I'm glad that my 3-drop slot was low to begin with, because I'm pretty sure I'm racking it up now, Despondency, I like that. I run it in my Mr. Wick deck. Gives the creature -2, -0. I have 16 slots left, and I looked at all the enchantments that return themselves. So let's go back to the EDH rec, see if they got some cool tech in here. All that glitters, that's pretty good. Just so I can close out games out a little bit faster. With as many auras as I have, there's no reason not to play it. Darksteel Mutation is great because it makes the creature indestructible.
You can't get rid of them!
Through armor, Luris is probably good because there's not a whole lot of permanents that let you return non-creature stuff. Luris is one of them, and my curve is so low that I can definitely take advantage of it. I think I'm going to get enough drain effects with my commander, but I'll definitely run Sun Titan. Veto. Now this is a bit of a payoff card. Definitely speed up the death of people with this. Sanguine Bond. Katilta seems interesting. Payoff for enchantments and gives my creature commander flying when it dies. It's a pretty healthy threat on its own. I also like Lortho for ramp. People want to cast spells. I guess I like Lortho way more than I like Marble Diamond and Charcoal Diamond. Open the armory. There we go. It's a cheap tutor. Let's run it. Helm of the Gods, Strionic Resonator. Those both make sense. Get to double up on my drain effects. And I'm running a lot of enchantments. Dead Man's Chest. I've always wanted to run this card, but I never did because it doesn't affect the board. But with your commander, it now does. Let's play it. Plug some stuff in and shave stuff off on the back end. That way people could see my thought process for how I cut cards. I like the cost of Spirit Mantle. I do like these auras that make it so whatever it's enchanting loses all of its abilities. Kind of like these kinds of effects, because not every creature is meant to do combat, and this kind of is more effective. Also, there's plenty of totem armor enchantments that are nice and cheap. I feel like if you're gonna play totem armor, you always go for Hyena at the very least. Like keeping my commander alive, and at the same time it feeds into the synergy of the deck and what I want to be doing. Light of Promise would be pretty brutal because it puts on counters equal to the amount of life you gain, so you can make Eriette really big really fast. This is a good removal spell that can enchant things other than creatures. Swift reconfiguration is got flash. I haven't played it except in my cube. I've had a lot of luck with it in my cube. I actually really like this court. We're gonna play that because it hits any permanent. Demonic Embrace, more scary. Evasion, and it's an aura I could bring back. Ooh, Ossification enchants a land you control, and it exiles a creature or planeswalker. Like it. This is where I get kind of my more creative piece to the deck, where I get to add my own flair, because I get to look at specific keywords and really diverge from the path and maybe set some trends of my own. On Thin Ice, I'm already running Snowlands. I like Curse of Vengeance. When that player loses the game, I gain X life, draw X cards, where X is number of spike counters. You just put this on the strongest player and hope they die first.
I hope you die out there!
And then you draw a ton of cards because of it. I like Curse of Exhaustion. It's just kind of want to inhibit everyone and not just one person. I like Curse of Silence for how cheap it is, and it kind of messes with decks that kind of depend on their commander being in play. Deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. Can deal with a lot of token decks. And it enchants a land. That could be significant. You'd be surprised by how many significant creatures get swept up by that too. 1 damage. So I have to make 20 cuts. That seems like a tall order, but I know where to start. So Viscopa Guildmage, I like it because it hits each opponent, but I don't like that I have to sink mana to do it. So let's just cut it. If I find anything wrong with it that I dislike, I'm just gonna gut it. Let's organize it by price. In a value. Wound Reflection, yeah. Let's get that in here. This thing it's funny, but for 6 mana, I'm not really breaking the game too much. So we'll cut that. Probably not going to run 3 Dreams. Could cut a non-edging card advantage piece. You got a fair amount of those. Sign in Blood, because it's slightly harder to cast in a budget deck. Armored Skyhunter is card advantage engine, so maybe let's cut Night's Whisper now. I have plenty of 2-drops. 33, yeah. Don't need it. There's also a 4-drop enchantment that puts counters based on the amount of life you get. Yeah, Sunbond. Yeah, let's throw that in here. I think I need to definitely focus on this 2-drop slot. Let's keep on whittling this down. 17 more to go. It's very specific removal spells that aren't doing any synergistic favors. People are thinking I'm crazy for cutting swords and Path to Exile, but we can make something work here. I like keeping my synergy high. If I can double up on a synergy and removal, then I'm going to take it. Just cut the creature-specific removal then. My 3-drops are also kind of out of hand. What's my curve or my average CMC? 1.88 still. I got 13 more to go. I don't think this does enough to take away the contaminated ground. If I'm going to be playing against other budget decks, they're not going to be running Gaia's Cradle kind of stuff. I might have to cut this Armored Skyhunter because it doesn't give me the card advantage the turn I play it versus everything else kind of does. We're just going to shave down these 3 instances and just rely almost entirely on auras that are removal. People's decks are a little bit weaker since we're going to be playing in a budget. Might be good enough in here just to be going that slow. 6 more cuts left. I'm making good progress. Oh, Shade's Form doesn't return itself. It returns a creature that's enchanted to you. That's not what I want. We're going to get that. Kind of entertaining the idea of getting rid of Spirit Loop. Doesn't give my commander evasion. Doesn't make it bigger. Just lifelink. Yeah, it just doesn't do enough.
What do those do anyway, huh?
Maybe I cut Sphere of Safety because I'll now rely more heavily on my commander. Get rid of Sphere. I do love my recovery plan and my my game closing plan. Pretty happy with how that turned out. 2 left. Okay. Not really too stoked on Fallen Ideal. Just 3 mana just seems a lot for what it does. Get rid of Fallen Ideal. 1 card left. Sleeper's Guile's kind of doing that same thing to me where it might not be evasive enough of giving it fear. Yeah, we'll get rid of it. I think this is a good start, at the very least. Gonna definitely play it come tonight or tomorrow, see how it does. And $123, and not much is higher than $5. I think the only exceptions I made that for were 2 lands. So not too bad. I'm not breaking anyone's bank. And a lot of these cards are stuff that people already have and are really cheap to pick up if you just need parts. And I think people will appreciate that. I'm going to play this and feature that in my next video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you stuck around to the end, I hope you use the same search engine tips that I did. Use EDH rec as a tool just to gather ideas. And making cuts isn't too hard for me because I don't treat anything with any kind of sanctity. You know what I mean? Nothing is too sacred for me to cut. That's probably why I'm like that when I play against mill decks as well. It's like, I wasn't going to draw it anyways. That's how I treat it. And most of my decks that perform well are tested. This deck has never been tested. I look forward to trying it out. I'm going to record that game and go from there in terms of changes, what doesn't work, what does work, highlight those problems. I think my biggest issue is probably my removal package, and that I'm only running 3 that are at instant speed, and I'm relying entirely on my commander and my sorcery speed auras to throw wrenches into people's game plans. I'll be honest, it's probably not safe at all, but I wanted to chase that end trigger of draining people's lives. And even in that department, I kind of went with a more balanced approach because I'm only running 27 auras.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Who knows, maybe I'm doing it all wrong. And people in the comments below, you could tell me if you liked what you saw, if you think that this deck idea is a good idea. I know my viewers and my subscribers that voted on my channel, they all want to see this deck. I'm going to give you what you asked for. So everyone have a good night. Bye.